This is Madden NFL 24. We're here on Xbox Series X. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So what are we getting here? We have two different graphical options. We have quality mode, which is a native 4K resolution at 60 FPS. And there is performance mode, which is 1440p at 120 FPS, which is really fluid and quite awesome. There's HDR support, there's spatial sound support, we've got crossplay options. We've got local play for up to 4, we got online co-op for up to 3, online multiplayer up to 6, and yeah, kind of similar options in regards to previous Madden entries that we've seen on the current generation of gaming. So let's dive in and let's start playing the game and showcasing it. So I do want to mention before we do that you go to options, you go to settings, and you can change the graphics under the graphics option. Obviously, if you're doing 120 FPS, you need a TV that supports it. I can't record at it, YouTube doesn't support it, but I do have clips showing it in action that you'll see throughout the video. I do also want to mention that in the visual feedback options, these are my kind of settings. I've turned off the visual feedback because I kind of find it annoying. And I 100% found the franchise bottom line ticker telling you about current games and stuff ultra annoying, so I turned that right off. And if you do find that the game is making you nauseous with a particular camera effect that does like a nauseating thing, you can turn that off with the dynamic camera effects option right there. Something I thought might be helpful for certain types of players. So yeah, we've got a number of changes, adjustments, and whatnot for this entry in the series. I want to say that, aesthetically, the game does look really good, kind of whichever mode you kind of go for. They have improved animations. The clipping isn't as bad in this one. They have adjusted things such as like the passing, it seems like tackling and whatnot too. So yeah, there are a number of features and adjustments and tweaks, and it does seem like a better refined package in comparison to what we've been getting recently. So we've got Sapient technology. So this is like a new thing they're doing where you are getting more realistic player bodies and movements and whatnot. So you might notice that in the gameplay. You might also see, again, the awkward clipping. They have like a lot of animations where characters are like sort of like thrusting into the camera, and it could be a little awkward because sometimes they could do that like over top of like opponents that got knocked down and stuff. So it's a little like the camera angles are a little bit more awkward than I remember them being in previous years, just in regards to some of that showcase, which is rather interesting. So yeah, with the Sapient technology, more realistic player body definition, variation of the physiques of athletes, and more realistic movement. Field sense has been upgraded, a little bit better level of control with this latest iteration and take on it. A lot of Series XS only features. The AI is supposed to be smarter, react more realistically to what you're doing. It's about the same, I thought, for like, kind of how the AI is moving and whatnot. But I'm sure your mileage is gonna vary in what you're doing within the game. So a bit of a good turnover there. We're starting by showing off, obviously, the Broncos here. I don't specifically have like a favorite team. The old man loves the Broncos, so I usually showcase Denver here. So if you are wondering, there you go for context, because I know a lot of people always seem to ask. And there you have it. So skill-based passing, that's kind of, to me, one of the big adjustments is further changes to like how the passing's done, different dynamics, sort of like a little quick meter as to like throwing it. And I do find that you kind of get like an aim circle sometimes where you can kind of adjust where within a field things are going, but I tend not to be used to that, so like it is a little awkward for me because I tend to throw it a little out of the way just because of that circle thing, so that's kind of different. The Hit Everything 2.0 system is supposed to be more impactful hits, more realistic pile-ups. I kind of noticed that it's more like I'm just taking out people's legs and they kind of go flying, which is interesting. Again, that kind of clipping stuff, so that's something they definitely should work on too. A new mode here that we have for only the current gen as well is Superstar the League. So this one is a little bit of a different twist on gameplay. You create like sort of a legendary kind of group and you kind of battle it out. Like all the normal modes are here, you know what I mean? You've got like quick exhibition, you've got quick matches, quick online, you've got your franchise mode, you've got your Madden Ultimate Team. You know, it's really very much the usual suspects when it comes to the differing game modes, and then there's lots of variations on like what you're playing online, what you're playing offline, tons of stuff. So franchise mode, mini games, and training camp drills. There's actually a whole training camp area right in the main menu that you can go and play if you want to adjust things and get used to stuff. For Madden Ultimate Team, they've kind of got new pass objectives, so it seems a little bit more minimal in regards to overall adjustments, at least in my opinion, for the Madden Ultimate Team area. We've got franchise changes, including, well, we mentioned franchise, but I also want to mention that there's kind of a big focus on team relocation, where you can create like new jerseys and stuff. I think that's maybe a response to the teams relocating a little bit more often. Yeah, so that's kind of a big showcase feature. I thought I was going to get a interception on that one. So we mentioned the cross-play, and yeah, just kind of traditional modes and stuff like that. Like, it's really kind of like straightforward. The goals this year really did seem to be focused around improvements to passing, AI realism and movement, the bodies, the physique of the players. That was kind of the big adjustments and goals. Now, you know, from a casual standpoint, you know, it's going to be like, oh, okay, so they've changed some stuff. If you're more intensive about it, I'm sure you kind of watch a bit, you know, bit by bit as the year goes on. So your mileage is going to vary if you're blown away by how much the game has changed, because it's not like they've radically redone stuff. I mean, you know, it's kind of expected for like your sports games year on year that it's kind of like, I don't know if the word diminishing returns is kind of the best thing, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very much, you know, the kind of game modes and everything that you would expect, and it's just kind of like, it's a new version of it, which is, you know, fine to a degree. I do think this one is a bit more polished, aside from some of the initial online issues we were having, but, you know, at the time of when you're watching this, that very likely will be completely sorted and not a problem. But, yeah, stuff changes crazy when it comes to online play, obviously, right? As everything changes here or there, and you just gotta keep with the flow of everything like that. But, yeah, I mean, it's Madden, you know? We're following the tribute Madden. It's kind of more refinements to how the game kind of like feels and plays, you know what I mean? That seems to be the fundamentals to me this year, is just kind of like, you know, adjusting and fine-tuning things. But, I mean, like, you know, you've got a very realistic-looking game. You've got dynamic, vast, detailed crowds. Refs are back, if that's something you care about at all. There are refs. So, yeah, that's kind of exciting. I mean, if you're into that kind of thing, you've got all the different detailed teams. You've got a suite of, like, customization options, which are kind of intriguing, I guess you would say, and some of the offerings this year for that. Tiered abilities, real-time player grading to certain single-player mode adjustments. I mean, like, you know, it's Madden, right? Like, it's pretty straightforward. We do also have... Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, going right there. That's what I'm saying, that circle kind of thing is interesting. There's the yard if you're on last gen. So we don't have the yard for the Series XS version. Same with face of the franchise. So keep that in mind, that those modes are, I guess, adjusted out. Thought that was kind of worth mentioning. Might be of interest to you if that's something that you played. And yeah, I would say overall this does feel like a better version of Madden compared to what we did last year. I would say that this is actually like a step up in terms of like, the quality of the overall package, the way the game plays and feels. Yeah, they've actually made some nice fine-tuned adjustments here or there. Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. I gotta really pay attention to that. And you do get to personalize it and adjust the game how you'd like, play however you want, play online, play locally. And you get all your different plays. But the game of, football and stuff is very much unchanged. It's that same sort of thing. And I'm very curious to see what the kind of game targets are going to be next year, with this one being more like body designed. Because that's what it is. Like the player models, I think you can kind of clearly tell the sort of changes. You know what I mean? Like they definitely do have a different like look to them, and there is a little bit more distinction within the different body sizes. And that is quite a big change up. I do notice that the AI also tends to throw the ball out more, kind of, in my opinion. Like, I think that's kind of intriguing, but also kind of annoying. It's a video game. We'll go for it all, as I'll, have to talk about stuff too. So you can play the game how you want in terms of length. There's weathering. The snow is actually worse this year. We'll be showing that off a little bit there. I was kind of actually hoping I was going to get that. And the rain, the rain looks pretty decent, but yeah, I was a little disappointed with the snow technology this year. It's actually a downgrade from last year. That's actually the biggest downgrade I kind of noticed, was the change to the snow quality. I was like, oh, that's a little odd. But there definitely seems to be more of a focus too on like sort of stamina elements in regards to like the players. You're definitely seeing a bit of like sort of tiredness and stuff come in as well, which is interesting. At least from what I've noticed, is that seems to make more of an impact as the overall match goes on. The interface is pretty clean. When it comes to like broadcasting and whatnot, that's what I was talking about. They throw it a lot more. Broadcasting is very similar to what we've had. The halftime is kind of a little less broadcast oriented. It's like they'll talk to like coaches and stuff, and then when you skip it, they're like, "Oh, guess we're too busy for the coach," and it's like, "Oh, come on." But yeah, that's the other thing too, is like I remember they kind of like going for like really flashy sort of like cinematic moments, in past years, and it seems like that's kind of really all gone again, and they're sort of streamlining it. Like that's the thing, is they test out different stuff and they change things, and they go, oh, we'll go with this mode, or we'll change this out, we'll swap this. And I do find it a little interesting though that they did drop some of the side modes for the current gen. I do ponder as to why that is the case. I would imagine most likely it is due to the shape changes and the body changes and stuff, and having that sort of split of players between last gen and then, current gen and whatnot. Because we are seeing, in my opinion, with this entry, a bit more of a divide between, the technologies of like the previous gen consoles for Madden and what we're getting here. The momentum system's also there. I'm not a fan of it. I don't know if other people, what other people think of the momentum system in the game, but like I'm not huge on it because it's like weird abilities and stuff. And that's where I was talking about returning off the shake option. It's just like it's really not quite for me. I'm not huge on that. I should also mention though that while they have adjusted the passing and stuff, throwing the ball, you can choose right off the bat. They literally give you like options, like you can try the options out to see what you like and kind of go with what you want. There's like 3 different choices right off the bat. I thought that was nice because it just gives you a bit of like choice in regards to how you want to play, the game and everything like that in terms of like passing. And so I thought that was a nice touch, nice sort of option in the game right off the bat. Because then there's also like, the whole suite of like skill trainers and stuff that you can like pick between. Oh, come on. You've got to be kidding me. Which is why it's the perfect time to switch over to another weathering variant, so you can see that in action. So here we have a snow setup going on, just so you can see that in action. And this is where I am noticing like a big decrease in quality is like the snow. It's either delayed or your footsteps don't actually impact the snow at all, and bodies don't impact the snow at all. It may seem trivial, but you know it is kind of something I look at each year, coming from a cold, snowy climate. So I like to show it off and talk about it. I do think the atmospherics look pretty nice though. There's like a good sense of blur mixed with like snow coming down. But it's just like, I don't know what happened. It's like either the snow, like they forgot to model like snow deformation at all, but it is super awkward. Like I thought we were actually kind of getting some improvements going on, but yeah, it is quite a downgrade in my opinion. Like it's really, really strange. There's also, it seems like quite a few celebrations and interactions for the various characters. Well, the athletes, when they're playing, there seems to be a lot of like emoting and stuff. Like they'll do all kinds of different like little dance things, and sometimes I talk about like, you know, the bodies go down in the snow, you don't even see it. The jerseys aren't even impacted either, and it's just like, it's really weird. And you have to have a specific stadium and whatnot for specific weathering, which I don't really recall from previous Madden titles, but I don't know, maybe I kind of forgot because, you know, it's been, you know, been a long time. Well, not a long time since I played the series, but, you know, it's been a long time since I covered the last previous entry and whatnot. So I think overall, you know, it's a good year for Madden, in my opinion. It's fine. I mean, I don't need to really say that because everything I'm saying is my opinion, but you get what I mean. It's a solid game. It plays well, it runs well. It's your choice for football in the NFL. Like, you know, it is your only option. But, you know, it runs well. The high frame rate mode is nice. The quality mode looks really good and sharp. It's realistic. You know, you're able to compete online. You're able to compete locally in a number of different modes. You've got lots of different options, lots of different ways to play the game. I guess technically from a perspective of, like, game mode changes, you are with a little bit less with them getting rid of, you know, the yard, and as I mentioned, but you know, it depends on how much you played those modes and how much you were into them. So we've got some rain going on now because, you know, I want to show off all the different weathering conditions that you can face when you're playing to, well, the best of my ability. And like I said, the rain is, you know, it's decently well done. It still feels kind of superficial to me. I would like if there was a bit more of an impact in regards to you, like, kind of touching the ground, seeing more splashes and stuff, but it's not bad. I also do wish, in general, the weathering conditions had more of a impact on how the players kind of move. It's just like it is a realism thing, right? It seems like weathering is thrown to the side, but 99% of people are straight up just going to play in the day. But I'm just trying to do, you know, the best showcase I can to give you a full range and look at the game, because I think that is the most effective way to give you an idea of what Madden has to offer every year, right? And that is the biggest thing at the end of the day, like I've mentioned, is your mileage is going to vary on how interested you are in this game. If you're coming from last year and you're somebody that buys Madden every year, you know, runs fine, runs good, looks good. You know, not a whole lot of complaints. I mean, there's things they could improve, there's more they can do, obviously. You know, if you're kind of being like, oh, I don't know, I might want to wait, you know, it is well polished, so I think from that perspective, it might be worth diving into. If you've been waiting a while for Madden, this is not a bad year at all, you know? Seriously, it's pretty good. If you play through the high frame rate mode, it's really sweet, it still looks really good. Even if you're playing the regular mode, it looks graphically fantastic, and I love the, you know, the quality of it and everything like that. You know, it's very, very well done. Now, yeah, we have clipping issues, and, you know, you might be kind of tired of the announcers and stuff like that after a number of years. I know I've seen many opinions and complaints in that regard, and that's totally fair. You know what I mean? I think that is something that they should be working on, doing some new stuff, some change-ups, but fundamentally the game runs well, the game looks good, the game plays well, and it's football. You know, it's captured in a realistic way, provides all the different teams, it's the full scope of the NFL. It's got a host of features, it's got great technology that they have evolved a lot in regards to the, the bodies, the quality of it, the way you play.